If you're getting sore knees after you play a bunch of pickleball, there are things that we can do right now that will help. One of the best things about pickleball is that we can play for hours and hours a day and then play again the next day. And by doing these things on the court and at home that we'll show you later, you'll be able to do that even longer. So pickleball is actually surprisingly very athletic. We do a lot, and we do a lot in areas of our body that we don't typically use. Look, when we sit all day, either at work or at home watching TV or in the car on the way to the courts, our knees and our hips are getting stiff. And right now I'm having to use my knees a bit. I had to step forward, and I had to step forward a little bit awkwardly. So a lot of times when we train our knees in the gym or at home, we train them in perfect conditions where I only ever step forward, my foot is facing entirely forward, my knees stacked over my toe. So when we're playing pickleball, the reason why it can be pretty demanding on our knees is it's not always a perfect scenario for my knees. I might have to lean forward for a ball. My knee was a little bit outside of my toe. That time I kind of stepped a little bit more on my heel. Ideally, I would have been more on the front 2/3 of my foot, but I'm more focused on the ball, trying to move around, trying to beat my opponent instead. So when you're playing pickleball, try to stay as light on your feet as you can. So kind of quietly moving around. I'm not stomping around like this, because each time I stomp, the tissues of my knees are getting beat on. So instead, I'm trying to be light on my feet. And when you do that, you're going to notice that the load on your heels and your knees are a whole lot less. You're also going to be quicker as a result too. So staying nice and low with the weight on the front 2/3 of your feet, it's going to help you be more mobile. It's going to help you hit the ball more cleanly, and your knees are going to thank you as a result as well. And then when you're done playing pickleball and you go home, there are things that we can do to strengthen both the heels and the knees all the way up to the hips that we can do from the comfort of our own home that are really going to help you when you're out here. So this is how we're going to help our knee pain after we play a bunch of pickleball. At home, again, no equipment other than a pickleball, which I know you've got one. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to attack our feet. So we're going to step on the pickleball. You can either do this standing or sitting. So I'll actually have Jamie doing it standing, and I'll sit down. So all we're looking for is we're looking for putting some pressure on the bottom of our foot. Kind of the same thing that we did with our back. So again, we're just finding the spot of our feet that are tender. If you need a little bit more weight down on it, that's what the standing is for. If it's tender already while sitting, you could absolutely do it while sitting. So about 30 seconds or so, again, focusing on breathing, 4 seconds in through the nose, 4 seconds out through the mouth. It's not rocket science in terms of the amount, but that amount of equal breathing in and out does a lot of other good things for the body too. And it gives you the chance to let this happen. Again, there's receptors in the muscles that when they feel pressure, they release, but you can actually override that release if you're tight and you're not breathing enough. So just make sure that we are breathing. So now that we've done this, let's actually go ahead and do the other side now, and then we're going to get into the foot stretch itself. So we like to do this aspect first, where we're basically getting the knot out with this pressure, finding the tender spot again. My left one, for some reason, isn't as tender right now. For me, I might have to either apply some more pressure now, or just keep looking for, a little bit more inside of the foot, I would get some. So kind of depending on how you walk, how much time you've spent on the court or barefoot or certain shoes. Dress shoes are very tough for feet. So depending on what you do, you could find it in different spots, and it doesn't have to be the same on either feet. So now let's go ahead and get up. We don't need the pickleball at this point. This might be one where you definitely want to have something comfy for your knees. This carpet is actually plenty comfy, at least for me. And so this one is fine as is, but if you need to put something padded, it's okay. This is as fancy as it gets. But what I'm doing is my toes are down on the ground. What I'm actually trying to do is I'm actually trying to stretch my big toe of all things. So all of my toes are being stretched, but I'm focused more on that big toe because it does a whole lot more than we think. We actually physically can't walk if we didn't have a big toe. So we're trying to make sure that it's as mobile as we need, because when we run, we ask our big toe to drive off of the ground. So we're not actually using the other toes, we're using that main big toe. And so if it's too hard to put that amount of weight on your knees, you can do it 1 foot at a time. So I can have 1 foot up and just spend time here. So I feel if I'm leaning back too much, it's not as much of a big toe stretch. I need to get a little bit over, and it's starting to be pretty uncomfortable now. So we're breathing through it, and then we can go ahead and switch to the other side. You can do that on your own time. Now I want to show you something else. So the very next thing we're going to do, now that we've released the muscles in the bottom of our foot. So the reason why we have knee pain a lot of times is the relationship between how these muscles are pulling down, so are these, And that also happens to your foot. If this is constantly pulling on your heel and your big toe aren't flexible enough to move around. Your knee takes a lot of the load that should have been dampened by this system instead. So now that we've gotten this to work a little more efficiently, let's go ahead and get this to work more efficiently. So we're going to grab our pickleball again. And this time we're going to sit on our bottom and we're going to find the tender spot of our calf. So we're just finding it between our ankle and our knee, and it could be anywhere between the very back of it or maybe even a little bit more on the outer side. Yeah, so Jamie's getting a little bit more closer to the ankle even, where I'm going a lot higher, closer to my knee. This is, oh, there it is. I found a good one. That's a really good thing though. It doesn't feel like a good thing at the moment, but it is a very good thing because it means we found the source of some issue. Some of the highest level athletes that have some of the strongest knees, they don't have tender spots like this. It's hard to believe, but they have very, very they have long and strong muscles. And what we're working on right now is getting them to be long, and then we're going to focus on getting them to be strong too. So again, we're just finding the spots that are tender. That one dissipated a little bit for me, so I'm just trying to find another one because I'm already here. But it's been about 30 seconds. Nothing's really tender at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and get up, and we're going to do a calf stretch now. So now we're going to focus less on the big toe and more on the actual functionality of our ankle. So we've all done a calf stretch before, and you're going to do that one. I'm going to do it against the couch. Jamie's just going to do it as is, wherever she feels. It's not rocket science. We're just looking for moving that heel down towards the ground. So we're just looking for that length. We got the knot out. Now we're trying to get the length instead. So I might also even explore, because I have the couch to do it, turning my foot out. Not as much of a stretch for me. Maybe if I turn it in a little bit more, I get a little bit more. I tend to have a little bit more issue on the outer side of my calf. And so if you do too, you might find that the stretch when you turn your toe in is a little bit more intense. So Jamie's doing it standing. That is totally fine as well too. Mine's probably a little bit easier. Hers is a little bit more advanced, but that's perfect. She's still getting a good stretch in the calf, and that's all that we're looking for. So we're looking to keep the length, but also squeeze the calf too. So now both of us are going to try to squeeze for 5 seconds where we are. Try it now. Because again, we're going to be long and strong. So squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Breathe, and then rest, and then see if you get a little bit more length. And we're going to do it one more time. We're going to squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. There you go. We're squeezing here in the meat of the calf muscle. And then we're going to go ahead and relax. Now the last thing we're going to do for the shins is we're going to focus on the quadriceps instead. So again, the biggest thing that attaches to our knee is now these big sets of 4 muscles on the top that are pulling up and down. So we're going to get to lay down again. We're just going to lay on the pickleball, and we're going to lay anywhere here that we tend to find tender. So I'm going to first try to explore something a little bit higher, closer to my hip. Jamie's going to search for something tender. I got one. I got a good one. Dang. So this is why I want you to do this while you're watching TV. Distract yourself. Play solitaire on your phone, whatever you want to do. But just seriously breathe through it and spend some time here. You're welcome to go do these at the gym if you want to. Personally, I find that to just be kind of boring. If I'm at the gym, I want to be doing gym stuff. When I'm home, I like to do this to kind of wind down and start to get a little bit more tired. I've found that I literally sleep better when I do these, especially the glute ones that we did for the low back pain. We can find that a lot of times we're waking up intermittently throughout the night or shifting sides because our hips and our low back are uncomfortable where we are. So even though we're sleeping, we kind of still take note of the fact that we're not comfortable here. And then we'll rotate, and that's still broken up sleep. So you can definitely find that you'll sleep better if you do this later in the night as well, because you'll be nice and relaxed and your body will be too. So now that we've been here for about 30 seconds, mine's still tender. So I would spend even more time here if I had it, but now I want to show you what we would do afterwards. It's going to look a lot like what we did for the big toe. It's just this time, I'm not going to worry about the toe being down. I'm just going to let the top of my foot be down instead. Yep. So now I'm just going to sit on my heels. If this is uncomfortable for you knee-wise, you can try to take a little bit of the weight off, but I do want you to spend some time getting lower because I want your knees, this is a natural knee function. I want your knees to be able to do this over time. It just might take a little bit to get there. For me, it's very tough to be here for too long because I'm pretty tight in my hips. So I need to spend a lot more time, and I do, to try to be here. It seems like you're pretty comfortable here. Yeah. What she can do to be even more advanced is she can start to lean back a little bit and then bring herself back up. Now you're long and strong. You're using this length, but you're also making sure that you can use it. Because flexibility, if you can't use it in that position, actually isn't helpful. Because if you're not strong in that position, your body won't let you be in that position without injury. So we're just looking to spend some time to get back and pull ourselves back up. Let's try that 5-second hold one more time. I'm gonna lean back. I'm gonna hold for 5 seconds where I am. I'm squeezing here as if I wanna pull myself up, but I'm not. And then we're gonna go ahead and relax and get forward. How the hips feel?
Great.
Good?
Yeah,
the knees will feel good, the hips will feel good. And it's all from the comfort of your own home. Seriously, it doesn't feel like it's a whole lot. We should be doing something way fancier with this, right? To protect our knees and everything. It's not the case. We can do a lot from our own home, and then we can go out there and play instead.